Hi everyone, it's Lori again, and I'm going to take some time now to share with you some thoughts and some ideas around understanding who your learners are. In the previous section, we talked about the community of inquiry. We looked at this graphic, the idea of social presence and cognitive presence and teaching presence as important elements in designing an online course. But before we start to dig into the design process, we need to think a bit more about the situational factors and the context in which our learners are living and learning and working. So before we dive in further, we're going to take a bit of a detour now and just think a little bit about what some of the situational factors are that you need to think about and take into consideration when you're designing an online course. So first of all, the class size, for example, is it large or more likely in the case of this program, a smaller class size? And what is the level? So we need to select strategies that are appropriate to graduate students and our expectations for them. Also the nature of the subject. So you'll see lots of materials out there across all disciplines, but we'll need to focus in on the particular discipline area and subject matter of your courses as being an important factor in decision-making around design choices. Next, we need to think about what the academic program context is. Are there particular competencies that we are expected to see in our students when they finish our courses and programs, or do we have a sponsor who has particular expectations, or are there needs that are arising from the particular program context that are going to influence our design decisions? Next, we might think about the learners. So let's put them into this picture. Who are they? Where are they? What other priorities are they dealing with at the same time as they're balancing their program work with you? And then finally, another situational factor is what your style is and what your strengths are and your comfort levels and what you would like to bring to the course as an instructor. So these are all situational factors that would influence our thinking about online course design. But let's think a little bit more about the characteristics of our learners. Some of the questions that we might ask ourselves are, firstly, what are the life situations of your learners? Are they currently working? Are they working full-time? Do they have family obligations? Are they typically in situations where they're under a lot of pressure? What are their motivations? Is this work important to them in terms of advancing their career situation or dealing with their current career situation or work context? So their life situation is quite important. Secondly, we would want to think about what prior knowledge and experiences do they bring to the table. If we wanted to deliver courses that are meaningful and provide significant learning experiences for these students, we have to think about where they are at. We are likely with adult learners to have people who come to the table with prior knowledge or prior experiences that inform their learning and inform the learning of their peers and in fact inform our learning about our discipline areas. And so we need to value that and think about how we integrate that into our design plans. And then finally, there is probably some goals and expectations, a course outline, a curriculum plan that you've received from the program curriculum committee that tells you what the learning outcomes and goals are to some level, expectations for your course design. And so those will be then passed on to your learners, that your learners will be expected to achieve those learning outcomes. And so we'll have to knit that in to make sure that we actually meet those expectations which come from the program, but also then become what the learners expect from the course. They may be needing this course for the next course that they're taking, or they may be needing this course, again, tying back to their life situation or their needs and their work context. So to think a little bit more about our learners and who they are together now, our next task is going to be to think about, as we have a vision and we have enthusiasm for the course outcomes, what situational factors might play into that to impose limitations. So we need to balance these two things. On the one hand, we have our vision and our enthusiasm We have our ideas of what we would like to see in a course and how we would like our students to interact and how we would like them to engage with the material we are presenting. But we have to balance that against the realities of what are the limitations of our learners in their context, and also the online learning context, which is provides its own specific contextual factors that need to be taken into consideration. So we're going to have to do some filtering. There are a lot of ideas out there for activities, online strategies, technologies that we can use. It can be quite a plethora of options available to us. And so our guiding principle should be to be student-centered. We should think about our learners and think about their needs, put that first and foremost in our minds as we embark on our course design journey. So for the next activity, we're going to share our ideas about how we see our learners. We're going to ask everyone to go to the Brainstorm on Wiki activity that's linked just below this video on the Blackboard Week 1 materials. And when you arrive at that wiki, please share some of your ideas with your colleagues. We're going to ask you to share your thoughts as to what are the characteristics and needs of the students that you'll be teaching. What are their challenges unique to this cohort? And what are their strengths? What do they bring to the table? And how can we help them to participate by leveraging those strengths? So go ahead now, close this video, and move on to the Brainstorm on Wiki activity, and we'll see you there.